The following is a presentation of Morning Drive Media.
Broadcasting live on the road with a giggling guest already. This is the Knapsack Files, and I'm Ken Knapsack. We are broadcasting from a secret location, a bat cave, if you will. And I'm so excited for this episode because, we've been drinking and eating and grilling, and we are outside. If you're listening to this on the East Coast or some other place where the weather is cold and brittle, we are here on the west coast of our great country, in Los Angeles area to be exact, and we're out. It's 10 o'clock at night, and we're out on a Friday night with a grill and some burgers and some beers and a cricket in the background that I'm happy to bring into my show. It kind of reminds me of being in Tennessee and those little bugs going on. But anyways, I'm Ken Knapsack. So happy to be with you guys here. We got a great show. I say in good faith, because I really don't know how it's going to end up. I haven't planned anything tonight other than beers and alcohol. Which are the same, and burgers.
Sure.
My guest
and
tonight,
ground beef.
Yeah, ground beef. Some chuck,
burgers.
Some chuck. My first guest is a returning guest. He's been on the show before. He's also the editor-in-chief of the Schmoes Know website at schmoesknow.com, and a podcasting compatriot of mine and colleague over in the Schmoes Know world, Schmoville as we call it, Mr. Mark Riley.
Well, thank you, Ken Knapsack.
Thank you for kind of help me put this together.
Well, of course, my pleasure.
By barging into this next man's house.
Yes.
He let me bring in my bags of equipment.
Yeah.
Some garlic cheese bread chips,
which were delicious.
Good. And he opened up his wonderful house. That is Roger Craig Smith.
Hello.
So good.
Wait. Do the introduction, then wait for the crickets.
That is Roger Craig Smith.
No one likes you.
No, it's true.
There was
what's
no
really going to be
applause.
sad is it's probably not even going to come through on the mic.
No.
Yeah, I'll
In
have
the
to
final
amplify
mix.
that.
There you go. Just put in a fake cricket.
Chirp.
Yeah, they have sound effects for that.
So I have these two gentlemen. I've known Riley now for a good year, and we've become close friends in the Schmoville Wars. So we go over through there, and through Mark Riley, I met Roger Craig Smith, and Roger immediately. I don't think I've met a person. To say you're a nice man is an insult in this dating world that we're all in. But I've never met someone who immediately was like, I want to get to know that guy. It's been a long time, and I hope one day.
Man.
I hope one day too. To get to know you, passing the security at the front gate to get in was a little embarrassing.
Can't be too careful these days. You understand?
Now,
Roger has a very strict standard before you walk in here.
yeah, absolutely. Had to be
The
checked.
guy with the rubber glove.
The cavity search.
He's
Necessary.
thorough.
Necessary.
He's very thorough.
Man, but
But
Roger,
gentle. Thankfully.
Roger is
He's a nice
gentleman.
guy, though.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
Exactly.
I
It was
really
actually
liked him.
me wearing a mask.
Was that you?
Yeah. It's kind of. Is that awkward now?
I've known you for.
No,
You
it
didn't
actually
recognize?
it just made it that much more
You didn't
entertaining.
recognize?
I've known you for
That's so
over
weird.
25 years, and that was you.
And that's,
I should have known.
One of the things I want to say, Mark Riley, you've known Roger for 25 years. Is that the number?
I actually
be.
just kind of pulled that out of my ass.
But it might.
Oh,
It
going
might be
again
close.
back to what
There we go.
searching through
Yeah.
cavities.
yeah,
Yeah,
cavities.
exactly.
Well, I met
What else is up there?
Yeah, I met Roger in middle
wallet.
school. In middle school at Hughes.
Middle school, yeah.
So we're talking.
Okay.
I can't do the math.
I can't either.
I would have been 11.
We graduated in.
Yeah, that's about 25 years because we're both, all three of us actually are class of 94, right?
Yes.
Yes, 94
Yes.
forevermore.
Yeah.
And experiencing our 20-year high school reunions this coming year.
That's right.
So that'd be middle school. Yeah, you're about 25. 25 years
Yeah.
running.
Yeah.
Running mates.
Can you believe it?
No.
Remember when we skimboarded?
You know what? I've got still pictures of us skateboarding.
I do too.
San Clemente on the rocky beach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Ruining our boards.
Yeah.
And you were in theater together?
We were in theater together. Yep.
Yeah. Now,
Absolutely.
Musical Youth Artist Repertory Theater.
Oh, we did that as well.
Yes.
I was
Musical
thinking of high school.
No. Far before high school, it was Musical Youth Artist Repertory
Yes,
Theater.
we also
My
did,
art.
We also did children's theater
art,
together.
yes.
My
And-
art.
Yes,
Yep.
my art. My art is
Yep.
still running.
It's still
and
running strong.
Yeah.
Really?
Dana Snyder? No,
No,
Dana
Dana-
Snyder is a voice actor.
where
Dana Hanstein.
Dana Hanstein.
Now, where was
that's
this?
right.
This is Orange County side?
Yep.
Orange County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down there.
Phenomenal.
I was born in the city of Orange, but raised
Nice.
in Pismo Beach, Rio Grande,
We
California.
talked about this because I lived in Orange for a long time.
Did you?
Yeah.
The circle there? The
I
big circle?
actually lived in the coolest apartment in on the face of the earth. I lived above Citizens Business Bank. In the roundabout, like in the circle right
in the
there.
circle,
so
yeah.
I was right on the corner unit. So I had 3 windows that looked into the circle and 2 that looked onto North Glasell Street, and it was like the
That's
ultimate.
so funny. You know, I want to go back.
place.
It's been a long time since I've been back, but I grew up City of Orange. I was 7 when we moved, but I went to a Montessori school,
Okay.
kind of down the walking distance from the circle.
Yeah.
And all that
Wow.
stuff.
I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
know
that was
that.
my potential stomping grounds. The one night, my parents and I, we all came home, and there was graffiti on our fence. My mom said, "We're moving."
We're moving. Yeah.
And we ended up in the Central Coast of California.
Oh, Orange County.
Yeah, and it was,
Yeah.
but typical of Orange County, it was real nice graffiti.
Really nice. Yeah, it was like artistic.
They took their time.
Yeah, it had Mickey in it.
Dear sirs or madam is how it began.
This be our territory. With all
it
due
pleases
respect.
you.
Exactly.
You son of a bees.
Now, I want to get the uncomfortable stuff out of the way first because I know you're uncomfortable with it. But Roger Craig Smith is a very noted voice actor and also I'm sure, most known for his work on Say Yes to the Dress.
Exactly. It's the iconic. It's the role of a lifetime when you think about it.
That what makes our mothers happy.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's the demographic I like to appeal to, actually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you've been in Disney's planes. You've done Assassin's Creed. You were Ezio, right?
Ezio.
Ezio.
But
Ezio.
Enzo is like the best way to do it because everybody says Enzio, which is
Ezio.
Ezio.
And then you also had a turn here as Batman, right? In Arkham
Did,
Origins.
yes, which was nuts.
Because there's so many Arkham games now. Arkham
City, Asylum, Origins.
Origins.
Blackgate.
Arkham Origins.
Right.
Which I'm
Blackgate
playing.
was the hint.
Which I'm playing right now, and I got to say, it's one of those things where you're playing Batman and you're hearing your best friend from high school.
So
Yeah.
surreal.
It is surreal,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I have the biggest smile on my face.
Of course. Now, again, a reason I say it's uncomfortable is you're not lying when you say you're not impressed by your own resume, are you? Mm-mm. It's yeah. Oh,
Wait, was it?
They're not
on the
impressed
way.
either.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why
they're
they're
there.
coming.
Devonshire's
That's how you
coming.
know he's not lying about the fake cricket sounds or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's not some like it's not.
We're really outside.
I'm not using GarageBand
Yeah.
to like.
Did you hear
hear the
that?
sound effect in the background? It just keeps looping.
I think we're also under the cover of a lot of things in the backyard. Are you sure that the bat signal is not up in the
it could be.
air?
It could be.
And that the police are just
Yeah.
honing in on that. Roger.
The
Maybe.
surreal nature of what you're talking about, though, doesn't also get lost on me when I actually play a game that I've been a voice in, which was
Right.
like one of the first times I did it was incredible.
Yeah.
Right.
It was,
right.
uh,
I think a police pursuit's actually happening
It
right
could
now.
be. Well, it's L.A.
Yeah, let's.
another one.
Are you near a firehouse? LAFD?
No. Well, yeah, a little bit down the
Up
street.
on,
see.
up on
If-
Dev, yeah, up on
Yeah,
Devonshire.
Let's
yeah.
just see. Let's just if
see
a
how
man
far.
jumps over the wall here,
Wait,
then we
hang on,
got problems.
hang
Hold on.
Don't ever take me alive, man. Don't ever take me alive. You want a party?
You want a party?
Yeah, it was
I
kind of.
think
yeah,
that
it
was
it
it.
was a callback to something that nobody's even aware of.
It was a callback to
A callback to something.
an off-air conversation.
Exactly. You want a party?
But anyways, I do want. So I know you're very sincere when you're like, hey, I don't, that's my work, and you're definitely not. You're proud of it, but you're not pompous about it. And that's one of the things upon meeting you. And you and I have talked about this. I know some people in the voice acting industry. It all seems to be a common thread with you guys. Genuinely nice people who are like, no, this is just what I do, and I'm good at it, and I know, but I'm successful, but. It's just a part of me. It's not who I am.
Because how can you take I cannot take myself seriously. You were talking about a nephew, right?
The plane story, yeah.
Oh, the plane. Yeah,
The plane story. Yeah. Was it a nephew? No.
He's my cousin's
Second,
son.
twice removed godson.
So that's my.
Dog
I don't know
walkers,
what that is.
best friends, sisters,
yeah,
uncles.
he's my second
Okay.
cousin, I guess.
But you were saying that like you mentioned that you knew Ripslinger, right?
Yes.
And the way they light up and that kind of thing, and it's like we get a chance as voice actors to be a part of a character, but we aren't the physical embodiment. I'm not the aesthetic, embodiment of Batman. I certainly don't look like the guy, and so it's
Take
one
your
of those
shirt
things
off
where
and
we.
let me
I
judge.
disagree.
Exactly. Wait for the thud as my gut hits the floor.
No, just put on the bat
can't-
nipples. You're fine.
The bipples.
Yeah. The bip.
How can you I don't know, if anything there is I think like a neat sort of regulation that takes place in our side of the business to where it's like if you have a massive ego about something that you've done, people look at it like, dude, you're not,
Right.
like you can't. It's almost like we don't like that vibe of somebody who just starts to take themselves a little too seriously because it's such a privilege to get to pursue these characters and get to be like a small part of them. But it's like with Batman, you've got all these creative people at DC and Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers Montreal that made the game that I worked on, right? Just one game that I got to do a voice for. and they make the character. I get to go in and do my job, which is to be a voice. And I rely very heavily on a director, and I work very closely with the director and the creative director and the producers and the writers to kind of say what's your vision of this and how can I be a part of it. So for me, it's like I feel it's such a great fit because you and I, the background in screenwriting and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a part of a production. I didn't want to. It wasn't so much about being
a star.
The talent.
Yeah,
and there's
right.
nothing worse than like when you show up to a gig and somebody's like, "Yeah, hey, I'm Roger Craig Smith here for blah blah." Oh, okay, and you're with the agency? You're like, no. Like, oh, you're the talent? And you're like, you're using that term very loosely.
But I wanted to add, you're also a very talented screenwriter because
Immensely. Immensely.
Well, I remember. I mean, our history goes so far back that
I'm just sorry. What if that were true?
Yes, exactly.
He's like, no, I'm really humble
No,
about
I'm
my work.
really- yes.
Screenwriting,
I know.
I'm the best.
I'm the best at it. Exactly. I'm very down to earth with voice acting. Screenwriting?
Yeah.
Don't even. Mark.
Screenwriting.
Don't even.
Sorry, I will shut up right now.
Yeah.
The point I was making was that in 1 year.
I'm sorry, and you are?
And my name is Mark Riley. I said
Are you a screenwriter?
Homeroom.
Are you some sort of okay?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I am a screenwriter.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't. And you got past the security guard?
Yeah, I did. He was great, but my point is lost now because you.
Sorry.
You're saying
me laugh.
this man has talents beyond just talking into a microphone.
One of my favorite, not only knowing Roger for as long as I've known him, but even years ago, I would say maybe 7, even 10 years ago, we were both in the Nickel
Fellowships.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Screenwriting
Okay.
contest.
Yeah, we were both in the semifinals.
Semifinals, yeah.
Where 7,000 scripts were,
Yeah, no,
were brought
absolutely.
down
Nichols
to
is
100.
very important, so-
and we kept going back and forth, going, I made it. Did you? Yeah, me too. Me too.
I'd say I didn't know that.
And that was really fun for
neat.
us. And
Yeah.
we didn't win.
No.
But
but to
You
get
got the semifinals. Yeah.
Nichols is pretty prestigious and attracts a lot of talented people. So that speaks.
Yeah.
well. I had no idea you.
That was
and
amazing.
that's why I brought
I
it up. It
also-
speaks well to his writing.
You
as
also
well.
you did stand up comedy as
did.
well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
as
back in the
as
day.
I did, right? Which was you found probably quickly was a dead end, right?
Well, no, actually, what? I mean, that was actually one of those things too. You and I have some mutual friends in there still, right? BKE and Patrick Keane,
and
yes,
Brian Keith Etheridge,
yes.
Brian Keith Etheridge and Peter Sprite. When I ended my tenure at the Groundlings, they were my final class and everything, and they were like, "Dude, you got to get into stand-up," and I love those two gentlemen.
Yeah.
And then met Patrick Keane, who at the time was BK's roommate.
Yeah.
I'd go over write sketches. BK would be laying there in a t-shirt and his underwear. Pat Keane would be passed out in his underwear.
Wait, in BKE's underwear?
No, just
okay.
just in someone's underwear.
someone, yeah.
And I was still freshly, I was still like maybe 2-3 years into LA, going, what's going on?
What's going on here, man?
I don't know. I just want to write sketches.
But you, Ken Napzok, are one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
And same with Roger. I mean, it's like I said tonight when we were all hanging out and grilling. I was like, I'm with two of my favorite people. But not only that, I can honestly say this: you're two of the funniest people I've ever met that I want to hang out with because you make me laugh so much.
that's
Well, in
good.
testimony, I think I would say one of the stronger, right? I'm being political here,
Yeah.
or I should say democratic in my approach to this.
Sure.
One of the stronger elements of the Schmoes Know podcast is always the news segment.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which
absolutely.
everybody raves about.
Thank you. The
Absolutely.
news
Yeah.
jerk. That's one of the only things I'm
News
proud
jerk.
of because I started that in 1997 at my old radio station. So
Oh, see,
I was
that's
happy
cool.
to bring it back after 15 years of absence.
I did not know that.
Yeah, everything I did in KBR 95 when I was a morning show guy. Before I was on the morning show, I did I did the actual real sports and music news, but I
No
did it
way.
like that, and it worked because so many people try to ape what Weekend Update
Yeah.
has become.
Yeah.
Or was, and me too. Dennis Miller was I did book reports as Dennis Miller in
Yeah.
8th grade,
Yes.
my story. And this is Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island in 8th grade. But yeah, I did that because
The coffin saved Queequeg.
But let me see, Dennis Miller fan.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You want to
yeah.
know how I know Hitler was a jerk? I read Mein Kampf. What was the
I can't remember that. I'm waiting for much
no dedication. That was his only, I thought that was what
and I still, I'll still make references to. I was on a wrestling podcast recently, AfterBuzz TV, with Kathy Kelly, our friend Kathy, Johnny LaQuasto, and did the WWE was in Memphis that night, and so they did a Memphis street fight match. So we're doing the podcast wrap up of the show, and I said, true fact. First Memphis street fight was between Colonel Tom Parker and Elvis's Soul in 1955.
So Dennis Miller.
And they're like,
There was this
crickets.
Yeah.
Literally like, shh.
Yeah, and I had to explain it because you see how I've lost it.
Yeah.
So Dennis Miller and that's what I took from that. But
that's rad.
Anyways, long story short, I delivered the real headlines like that. So it's real news
That's
with
cool.
jokes.
So it shows.
And that's the difference between people who are like, I'm going to do funny news.
Yeah. No.
And that's how great I am.
Absolutely, dude.
When you're this
Absolutely.
good looking, who needs to be humble?
Hey, I run the Twitter during those Schmoes No podcasts. It lights up the board. when you're
Absolutely.
on
I
there.
miss it. We'll be back at it soon.
Yes,
but,
we will.
Here's one thing I want to talk about, and Riley, you've made a movie.
Yes.
And you can argue that it was not, it didn't win an Oscar or anything. You're going to try to humbly say, but you made a movie, and it's available on platforms. You can get Gray Skies on Netflix or wherever you want to get,
Amazon,
right? Amazon,
yeah.
it's there.
Amazon, all that
that's
stuff.
very hard. Roger, you whether you want to say it or not, you're a successful working voice actor. All right, knock on wood, and
Plastic or
we're
whatever this
here in the fruits of some of your labor that that you share with
Beautiful home.
everybody because you're like worked to share my success. I'm, being the complete failure that I am. I want to
Stop, dude. God, man.
That was from my friend
Is
Dan
this a
Farron.
support group?
No,
Is that what we're doing? Is that what, like,
that's from my friend
Hey,
Dan
Ken,
Farron, who's always worried that I'm going to kill
you're a
myself.
beautiful,
My name is
wonderful
Mark
person.
Riley, and I was
Stop
a
doing
theater
that.
major.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark.
But here's what I want to ask: is you two are in high school together?
Yeah.
So 1994,
Yeah.
you graduate,
Oh,
and you're
man.
good friends, right? You're like besties.
Besties.
Is that fair to
BFF?
say?
Roger, I would say that Roger was my best friend in high school. Absolutely.
Fair enough. And
Man,
Roger
this is
would
getting
put you
awkward.
third or fourth.
I was
but
just gonna say, he's in there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like there's a bullpen of
Mark was
of
warming up.
BFFs. You know, it's
Sean
like, yeah,
Asher.
exactly.
He was your best friend.
Hey,
Sean Asher and Steve Ellis.
if it's bottom of the ninth and the guy that's been there the whole time is kind of like, he's starting to struggle.
Yeah.
Losing a little control.
I know where your loyalty
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Bring in
Bring in
Riley.
Riley.
Bring in Riley.
Bring in Riley for a couple.
I just signaled for the right hand
Exactly.
on a podcast.
But don't let him do the post game interview.
But here's my thing. So you graduate and you guys like let's go take on the world.
Yeah.
And in your own
Yeah.
ways, you have and how take me back to that time frame, summer '94. How did you set out on these paths?
Oh, jeez.
And I know you didn't do it.
Vastly different paths.
Vastly,
It is,
yeah.
and I
went
know
straight to SC, right?
You've
Yeah.
ended up here. You've
Yeah.
ended up here
Which
as
is
friends,
nuts.
but
And
you also
that's-
drifted apart and stuff like that too.
that's-
Now you're
and
back.
I guess I can answer it. I guess first is that I went to USC after high school to major in theater,
Right.
and
Which was a mistake.
which was the worst. Like anybody listening right now, please do not major in theater. It is not something you need to spend money on.
Yes, just major in screenwriting.
Yes, yes.
That
It's a
that is where.
that is where the money is.
That's the gold mine.
Yes, just ask me about it.
Well, I think I don't remember our summer between college, me and you.
I visited you once up at SC.
Yeah,
I know
I-
that.
I do
came,
remember
like-
that.
And we went out in, I think, Westwood.
Yeah.
We wound up in like UCLA territory.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
wow. Kind of a
because it
trip.
was safe.
Well, because it's SC's neighborhood. It's
Because
kinda like
SC,
the police sirens we heard earlier. It's like
Yeah, a student died on his way
Yeah.
home to his apartment because he was stabbed to death. So
wonderful.
So I went to USC and I always
Comedy gold.
it is comedy gold. I always kept in touch with Roger, but I think just with life and college and careers and whatnot, we kind of, I wouldn't say drifted apart, but we went on two separate paths, and then it was amazing that. Well, for me at least, I'm really happy that we've come full circle in careers and are now hanging out a lot.
Which is a trip.
It's
Yeah,
a
it
total
only took-
trip, and
only
it's,
took 20
and
years.
It only took 20 years, and it makes me smile all the time.
And I feel that when I'm around you guys, that you're like, this is genuinely cool. Like we all this time, but back then was because I had some friends I graduated with, some who were down here. And we kind of like huddled together and like, all right, we're going to take on the world. Ready? We're going to go to Hollywood. 3, 2, 1, break.
Yeah.
And then it's happened in different levels. And it's not about levels of success, but it's about going out and doing what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Did you guys, are you guys where you wanted to be? Individually, obviously, but
I don't think we ever talked about.
I know you
And I
probably
don't
were.
think-
I'm going to go be Batman.
No,
I get
exactly.
that, but
Yeah, I think what I thought was I went to USC to be a theater major because I thought I was going to be some famous actor, and I ended up loving writing and loving producing more. And I can't speak for you, Roger, but I just remember that was my thing. I just went to USC and. I would visit you and for in the holidays and whatnot. We'd always keep in touch, and we've always kept in touch. And now it's kind of wrapped around that we see each other a lot more. So
And it was like my path was vastly different. I didn't have like I didn't take the SATs. I wasn't going to be going straight to a 4-year university
didn't
right out
either.
of high school.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
honestly,
that.
well, I didn't really have. I mean, college was never. There was a weird thing that took place when I was at Chapman. So I graduated from Chapman U in Orange.
Okay. Yeah.
And there was a family friend that had called me up and said, "Hey, we've got a 16-year-old family friend that has a 16-year-old son who's a little directionless, and he needs to kind of go see like what's out there." And they said, he's shown a talent for like working with like cameras and things like that. So we think, we'd like him to see the film school. And so since you're there right now, would you mind taking both he and his father around? Like, sure, yeah, not a problem. And I walked around the campus, and it was funny because now I graduated at the age of 27 from college. So I got my got my screenwriting degree.
Roger's working on his own pace.
Exactly. And meanwhile, my friends like Mike and Tony and all these. Tony, not that at this school, but my buddy Will.
yeah,
They
Some
were
of our high
across
school
the
friends.
street. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting their law degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
across the street at the film school.
Yeah.
Kind of going like, how's it going, everybody? Like, I did it. But it was one of the, like the path is never linear, as our old high school theater art instructor used to say. But
Yeah.
I got a chance to take this 16-year-old young man and his father around the film school, and to watch this kid who kind of showed up, kind of like hands thrust into the pockets of the sweatshirt, kind of like let's go, man, whatever. I'm like, well, let me show you around. Like, here's the editing bays and all this kind of stuff. And this is back before it was like the Dodge College of Media Arts or whatever the fancy title is now, with a $40 million budget and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing.
It's a well-respected
It's
film school now.
amazing what they've done.
Yeah.
THX certified theater, the whole 9
Sure.
yards.
Right.
But so I walked this kid around, and it was funny because all of a sudden I watched this 16-year-old go, "What's up with all the like gorgeous college girls who are 18, 19 years old?" Walking around without like parents, and he would watch me like interact with professors, and I'd be like, "Hey, Pete."
Right.
Not Professor so and so. It's Pete.
Right.
Yeah.
Pete Weitzner, my professor from the. We worked on a nighttime. It was a show called Nightcap. That was it was a nighttime talk show, and
wow.
and it was like that's where I started working on writing. And that's where I started working on like hosting and things like that.
Yeah.
But it was Pete. His name was Pete Weitzner. It wasn't Professor Weitzner. It just didn't go by that. And so this kid, all of a sudden, you just watched him. He started asking all sorts of questions and having questions for me at the end. He was fired up. And I went, how funny! I didn't get that. College was never anything that was on my radar. It wasn't anything that was really like pushed to me. And it wasn't until I, like with a significant girlfriend at the age of like 23, started looking around going, well, shoot, I can't deliver pizzas and, raise a family kind of thing. So I was like, I better go get a jobby job. I got a jobby job. It took me 3 months to realize, like, looking around at like my jobby job coworkers, and I went, what's the common denominator here of these people who like every morning, just day in and day out, just punch in, punch out,
Right.
and are miserable? And I went, there's not a college degree here. And I went, that might be the determining factor for certain things, or at least it'll open some doors and some options.
Sure.
And I eventually went back and did the junior college thing,
Yeah.
and then I matriculated at the age of 25 in a Chapman. So I graduated at 27,
Okay.
finally got my acting gear at that stage, at that point. But no, we went very different paths as many of my friends did.
But that's a good lesson for you're number one, never too old, but also there's a lot of time sometimes. Like a lot of people try to rush and,
Yep.
and judge things. I'm at one point when I was like 15, I was like, if I'm not quote successful by 25, I'm gonna kill myself because
Yeah.
what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
I had that with my
There's
parents.
nothing to live for at that
There's
point,
nothing
right?
to live for. 25.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly.
25, I'm pretty tapped out.
Yeah.
Oh
Dude,
yeah, my
the
parents.
best years are behind you.
My parents put a 5-year plan on
17
it.
was awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
my parents were like, you know, oh, when you graduate college, then you're going to give it 5 years and you're going to give up if it's not, you know, what you thought it was. And so when 5 years came up,
Where did I go to be famous?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
5 years
What's the
came up,
course
and
that I
was,
take?
Yeah, I wasn't successful. I was still waiting tables, but I was writing, and I said, no, I have a love for this, and I'm not giving up because
this
I've been here for a while.
With it being 20th for all three of us that are
Yeah.
doing it, the 20th high school
Oh,
reunion.
Jesus,
This
I know.
is our 2
Here we
decades
go.
out of high school. Would you go back ever?
Would I go back to high school now?
Yeah. Would you go not really like take the adult education course?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Are you talking about like 13 going on 30, or
Would I go-
Again, I wasn't trying to imply. No, I'm saying like.
All right.
all right. Would I keep fun of
those
myself?
redheads, man?
Because I look at it, I go like, it sucks to get a little bit older. It sucks to not necessarily like have the we were talking about hair and all that.
My left foot constantly hurts right now. Yeah.
It's gonna be a storm brewing.
Yeah, I worked out.
my knee.
I had a really good workout the other day. I know this because I've been on a heating pad for 4 days.
Exactly. It's like, and by good workout, you mean like I walked up a flight of stairs. Sober. I was sober.
Sober.
No, but I
Would I
find
go
myself
back, or-
no, yeah, because I find myself right now just going, I wouldn't trade it for the world because regardless of success in other areas of life,
Sure.
knowing yourself more now than I ever did in high school, and,
Yeah.
and just like I would never go back.
For me, like, you're breaking it down simple to say, hey, would you go back to high school? I wish I gained confidence earlier, whether it was high school or not. Jokes about my self-loathing aside, it's part of kind of my nature and kind of what makes me funny.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's some really dark stuff there. Some people know me close know, and I've worked through it. So where I am now, I wouldn't go back because I've
Because of that.
changed so much in the last 5 years. I've changed so much in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just a comfortable in my own skin confidence that youth is wasted on the young. I wish I had
No
when I
kidding.
was younger, but would I go back? No.
Yeah.
But you know what though?
I
agree.
There was a quote. I think it was called Boffo, the making of a. I don't even know if it was that. No, it wasn't even that. But maybe it was. There was a George. It was George Clooney was talking about something, and he said graphically, if you'll pardon my horrible use of language right now.
Change it tenor.
We'll just talk about it as a kitty cat. We'll make a kitty cat reference. I think he said growing old ain't for pussies.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things. I remember hearing that, going like, you know what? There's something to that because it's
Yeah.
like it's true. Like what you're talking for everything that you went through when you were younger, but where you're at right now, it's like had you not weathered that storm,
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at where we're supposed to be, and you hear that kind of stuff. Let me give this example of my mother, and this maybe will get in a little bit to faith or religion. This is not about that, but my mother had a neurological disease for a long time called trigeminal neuralgia. It's nicknamed the suicide disease. So
geez.
for over 12, it's shooting pain where you can't even open your mouth. It's horrible.
I've heard about
when it
this.
first hit, there was really no known cures or what to do. And of course, as a religious based family and everything, my mom would pray. No cure would come. At one point, maybe possibly close to suicide. I mean, it was dark. I mean, you'd be in mid conversation, then her face would freeze.
Really?
And it would describe like someone took a hammer to your face 50 times, asking for cures. The cures at the time were, well, yeah, we got something. We're going to snip all the nerves on the left side of your face.
great.
Oh, jeez.
You girls have a droopy face, but
Yeah.
you won't have the pain. All right. And it never kept happening. And all the questions of why, God, why? Or why is this happening?
Yeah.
Well, finally, one day, some 30-year-old doctor in 2006 gets a hold of her case, and she sees him, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, here's what we do. We just put little plastic things around it. I just go inside through your brain, and it's fine.
Wow.
Surgery, recovery,
You're serious?
Fine. Wow.
fine.
Wow.
Gone. That guy was 17 when she first got her disease.
Holy cow!
So
Jeez.
sometimes you look back and go, I went through all this to learn to get to this point. That's where I feel I am now.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
not just professionally with the schmoes. We've got some stuff going around.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm doing what I did at 1997 on a radio show and now doing with this thing, and it's all fitting into a group and a podcast and a brand. I'm watching it and I kind of look around and I don't want to jump any guns, but it's like, I think all the struggles of getting voted out of the Groundlings, of not succeeding in stand-up, struggling in screenwriting, are now coming to where I maybe was supposed to be.
Yeah, and I feel the same thing with some of my screenwriting things. I never really, as a theater major, I never really had any kind of things that were big for me.
Right.
You know, I never had the part where it's like, I was against Tom Cruise for this part and this. No, early on, I was auditioning and I grew tired of it because I was waiting around for calls and I needed to be creative, and I started to write, and that's how I started to where I am now. And to go back to kind of your earlier question about the high school and whether I'd go back, I would go back because you know what? I had the best time. But no, and I'm not saying that like
insert a montage of Riley dancing on high school tables.
Yeah, with the exact same hair he has now.
Yeah, exactly. No.
You
And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
you.
that because by all means, I was not some popular kid. in high
I
school.
get you. I've seen the pictures. There's no way you could.
No. But high school for me was with Roger and a bunch of my friends from the theater arts school, and that theater arts class, we're still in touch. We're planning something for our theater arts teacher, and that was a fun time for me, and I will always look back on that and love it. So when you ask the question, would I go back? I would go back just to relive it and just do it exactly the same way. Now, I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
I mean, and I wouldn't.
That makes sense.
I wouldn't change anything
point.
now. I mean, I am here for a reason.
Yeah,
you know,
I get that point. Then definitely. Also, he just wants to go hit on the high school.
I was just gonna say, like, that's what it is.
I just want to go back
very
for Melissa
sadistic
Deppy.
and weird. Oh well, okay, no. Come on now.
She's married now.
Come on, yeah,
she's married to some Discovery Channel guy.
All right. Let's
Most of them
come on now.
Yeah, you know.
We're not gonna go there.
Yeah. Did you make out with her that one night?
This weather is just wonderful, isn't it?
Oh, we're taking a picture.
We're doing like the wait. Actually, look away from it. Just. It's even better.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
That was a picture.
None of us are looking. There we go. This just makes for a really good podcast. We're like, hey, look at this photo.
I know.
Is that pretty good?
Yeah, that's good.
Look at that. Isn't that
This
great?
is the most riveting section of any episode of Knapsack Files ever.
Sorry,
we
everybody.
discuss an Instagram picture.
Sorry.
I think everybody just turned off the Knapsack Files and went, these guys are drunk.
No, they're not, because Roger Craig Smith is here.
That's true. That
has
is
been
true.
so entertaining so far.
Batman. I want to jump to how you got into voice work, though, from stand-up and writing to. You have a great voice, no doubt about it.
Well, yeah.
Did you just think? Did you think? Oh, here's something I can do.
No, not at all. That's the best thing. That's one of the reasons too. It's like, I mean, when you hear me say, IPA's kicking in. You hear me say, tomorrow.
You're a great voice actor.
Everyone,
Remember the time you farted in
I don't know. No, I think back. Okay, I think back to where I'm at right now, and with everybody here and that kind of thing. It's you've heard me say, like, this is like, I want to do this. That these are things that I never would have thought in a million years I'd be able to share with people or provide or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm living out my dreams in every sense of the word. But the notion that I was somehow going to find myself here was never. There was never an ounce of confidence in that occurring at all. And it's weird to think back on. I always think back to Jan Laurie, our high school theater arts instructor, who I went to at the age of maybe 20, 21. It would have been about 21, 22. No, maybe about 23 when I started thinking about getting into stand-up, because I'd heard from people in high school and stuff like, oh, you're funny, you're goofy, you're the funny guy, 8th grade class clown, all that kind of stuff, right? So you should be a comedian. And at that age, I'm thinking, I have nothing to draw from. I have no life experience to share with the general audience. And it's like, my perspective is not that it's changed much at 38, but it's like hand farts and sounds like that. I still love hand farts.
I do too.
Manualists, as
Can you? Thank you.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I have to work that into just about every single podcast I've ever been on. It's never.
It was on the Schmoes No podcast.
It was on the Schmoes without fail.
Jonathan London.
I think I've done it on CNN for all I know.
We're here with Roger Smith.
This is Wolf. Wolf, sir.
Thank you, Wolf.
Reporting from
Exactly. Wolf, you hear the sirens in the background? Oh.
Here's Morgan. Oh my God! I can't believe that fart.
But I think back to like high school, and I met with Jan, and I said, look, I'm thinking about doing some stand up, and I want to run this by you. I want somebody who knows me to kind of hear what I'm thinking about doing.
Right.
I went in and I did this bland, like like very stereotypical, just like basic observational comedy.
You did your act to her in a room by yourself?
I did by ourselves.
Oh,
yeah,
my
yeah. I met
God.
with Jan after this in the high school theater.
I absolutely and I love this because I know Jan Laurie as well as he does, and she's one of my favorite people, one of my mentors, and so this story makes me happy. So keep
So
going.
go to her and I just said, look, this is what I want to do, and I finished, and this is why I did it. This is because this is the kind of person that she was. I go in and I don't even remember what the material was, but it was just very observational. It was me being what I thought a comedian is supposed to be. And I got done, and she leaned back in the chair, and we're in the little theater at Foothill High School in,
You're in
Tustin.
the little
in
theater.
the little theater.
Oh my God!
And she leaned back. She went, okay. And she just goes, do you want me to be nice or do you want me to be honest?
Nice.
And I went, I want you to be honest.
Because everyone would say that. Be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I was, and that
Tell me
was
how
what
funny
I was
I am.
there for. And she went, okay. And she went, fine. Where are your characters? Where are your voices? And then she said, where you were always the goofy kid. You were the one who did little characters. And she's like, you have a cast of thousands in that head and all that stuff. And she said, you instead of just like sitting back and commenting on things, why not become the character and have the audience laugh with you or at you as you are the thing that you're lampooning, kind of thing. And I went, oh, that's interesting. That's actually not a bad idea. So sure enough, I went and I took voices and started doing characters in my act, in my stand-up act. And I very much had an act. I was a very rehearsed comedian. I would stray a little bit.
Yeah.
And so in the LA market, I did not do well. Up here, it kind of turned me off to a certain degree. I remember doing a showcase in LA at some hipstery little joint. And I think like Chris Hardwick and all those kinds of guys were there at the time, and maybe even Allison Hayslip. I don't remember like back in the day she was doing stand up or that kind of thing, but for some odd reason that name like I remembered that name from back in the day.
A friend of Schmo's, Allison Hayslip.
And so I went in and I did this, and a buddy of mine brought me up to do the showcase, and he's like, hey man, it's gonna be great. You're gonna be great. You do your thing. And it was at like some bar. Like nightclub kind of thing, and I go in and I did my act. I had my material, my Industry 7 was like nailed down kind of thing, right? And I go in and I do it, and it was crickets. Like it was just like the audience is looking at me like, what in the hell are you doing, dude? And then I watch these other guys get up there, and it's like, and they take their notepad out and slap it down on the bar stool and go, so what's the deal with Lancashire? Like, how long is that? I mean, am I right? Like, how long are they going to put the cones up? Because I was trying to park to get into the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, and I was like, dude, bro, what up? I mean, the orange cones don't really work, do they? And it's like people falling over themselves laughing, like the courtesy, what I always called like the courtesy laugh of like the industry courtesy laugh in the background, which is always this. It was always that. It was the guy who was running the room in the background.
That wasn't a courtesy laugh there.
Exactly. Anyway, so I had nothing, and I just found myself going like, I don't fit in here. I don't know what this is all about. I don't know what I'm doing. And eventually, I kept trying to stick with it. I found some success in the Orange County market, where it was a little more, and I loved Pasadena doing the Ice House for comedy. Because the audience is so broad, and it's not a bunch of jaded industry people going like, my brother can do comedy and better than you.
Or I'm here because I need you to also come to my one act play.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
there's a flyer on your way out.
My mother and I came and visited you
in Tustin.
in Tustin and watched you do a set, which I will say I laughed my ass off because
That's something
you're a funny guy.
That's something
I'm
you
getting
would say,
broadly
Riley.
off topic.
No, but
Your question was, what eventually ended up happening is there were 10 of us that were selected to perform at the Improv in Irvine, and it was a showcase night for Judy Brown for the Aspen Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
And she was there she was headhunting, and we all were scheduled to perform. When we are done performing, the audience leaves, and then she evaluates us one by one on stage, and she goes to everybody down the line. It was great, a huge opportunity. She goes down the line. She's saying this to all these people. I loved your presence. I love this. Why are you doing props? You're not a prop comic, blah, blah, blah. She comes to me and she goes, who represents you for voiceover? I said, nobody. Then she said, wow, you do a lot of characters and voices in your act. You should look into that. And then she moved on.
she just kind of
She said nothing about my comedy. Said nothing about my like.
Are you kidding me? I had no idea.
Yeah, and that was
that's
amazing.
like,
and I had heard it a couple of times. Like there were people that would draw comparisons to my act to another comedian who had some success in like hosting and game shows and stuff. And they said you can articulate well when you're on stage. And they said that's like public speaking, so you should look into this. And then finally she said what she said that night, and I went, okay, that's enough.
Flippant comment though, just a aside.
And so I took a class at Kalmanson and Burbank, and then I also lucked out in the fact that I could cut my teeth in Orange County, which was a very safe environment in which to learn and to make mistakes, because in the LA market, if you're exposed too quickly, people do absolutely remember who you are.
Oh, really?
And, and that's another reason why I think that ego element to like voiceover, it just doesn't fly. And I've watched an assistant take on the phone, basically doing everybody's worst nightmare when you're trying to break into the industry, answers the phone call. I understand that you sent it in. No, we've got it. It's here. I totally understand, but you have to understand that I know. No, I know it's been a few weeks. Well, the agents are very busy right now. And, no, they are accepting submissions. It's just, it's very, okay. Okay, well, I'll let them know. Okay, no, you're absolutely right. No, we'll let them know.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye. Hangs up the phone, goes down the little list, and this is how long ago it was, CDs.
Yeah.
Goes through the stack of CDs, finds it, and goes, there it is, and drops it right into the trash.
Wow.
Right.
Because it was like, dude, don't call us and ask us why we haven't listened to your demo yet and that kind of thing. And Orange County didn't have anything like that because it was such a small market. So I was able to kind of cut my teeth down there in VO and learn and make mistakes and do all that kind of stuff. But it was never, and now I look back on all those things. Screenwriting is my major in college. Working with Jan and having her say what she did, doing stand-up, all these things that have like led me to this career that I love and this career field that I discovered that I like thoroughly enjoy and I'm so fulfilled by, because it incorporates so many of those elements. Stand-up is throwing stuff against a wall with a different audience every night, trying to hope that something sticks.
Something works,
And voiceover is that every single line. It's like I've likened it recently to football, where it's like, okay, we as a team, we all get together. You're the director, you're the producer, you're the writer. And we say, okay, so here's what Batman has to say, or here's what Chris Redfield has to say, or that kind of thing. Okay, so we huddle together, we go, okay, this is the scene, this is what has to happen, hike the ball, see what goes on, and you go out there and go like, you scream or yell, and then you stop for a second, and you re-huddle and go like, how'd that go? I don't think it worked very well. We got sacked. Or,
great way to look at that,
Yeah, and it's that, and all of those things, that's stand-up. I mean, it's like, that 80%, if a joke works 80% of the time, that's one you want to keep in your repertoire.
Yeah.
And it was like, but every night, it was trying different things and throwing stuff against a wall and hoping it sticks, and VO is that way at every single step of the way. It's that way. And then there's elements of things that I got to work in with, working with Clay Hall and Planes, like the director, which I cannot say enough about. Clay Hall, John Lasseter, all those guys that were involved in this. Tracy Balthazar Flynn, the producer. It was nuts. Nuts. Like an opportunity of like beyond my wildest dreams, but they were the type of people who go like, what do you got? What do you think? I mean, it got to the point where they would say like, hey, we're going to get one is written and we'll leave the mic open for you to go do your thing.
That's amazing.
And it was, that collaborative effort of like working together. But it takes a certain kind of person to be able to do that collaboratively, and they get that we're all working
to
together.
know your role.
Yes, exactly.
To know your role, to keep your ego in check.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like you're at a certain point now? I mean, it's just, you brought up John Lasseter, which is one of my favorite filmmakers now because of Pixar. And it's like, leave the mic open so you can just do what you do. Do you find that you're doing that more so now, like where you can kind of improvise and kind of jump off script and do these things?
I remember doing anime back in Tustin. It was oh man, I can't even remember the name of the not Code Geass. No, what was it? I'm trying to remember the name of anyway, Duel Masters. That's what it was. It was one of my first big anime jobs, and it was down in Tustin. And I remember asking the engineer, because it's 9 times out of 10, I almost feel more at home with those guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, man, we're in the production side of things. Like, we work in production. That's what we do. I'm not an actor.
Blue collar, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the
Heavy
fun
lifting.
is. That's where the best stories come from. So I always wanted to be around that.
Yeah.
And I remember asking the guy, I was like, hey, so what do you hear that I'm not doing? And he said, he goes, you know what? You're very rigid. You're very like you stick to that script. You honor those ellipses. And he says, hey man, like every now and then give him one like that, and then have a little bit of fun with it. Or when we call cut, do something with the line that you think maybe might work. And next thing you know, like the director might hear it and go, wait, what did you just do? Yeah, do that. And he said, have fun with it. Like throw stuff out, and a good director will hear that stuff and go, oh, great, please. And a good actor will understand respectfully if a director doesn't want that, or if a writer gets their toes stepped on a little bit, that kind of thing. And I mean, it's it's a trip that now it comes so naturally, almost to a fault, to where I think I'm going to get fired because we're goofing off too much, like goofing around too many times. But
Right.
I want to talk a little bit. I don't want to stay. I know you don't want to talk about you. I'm saying that kind of jokingly.
I just did that for about the last 5 minutes. I'm fairly
it's-
certain.
Yeah,
that
I
pretty
know.
much wanna-
So that's why I'm saying I want
Exactly,
to
good.
kind of
You're like,
go. I have some other
how do
things
you
to
like my
discuss.
hair?
But we were talking. It's very
Thank you.
sparse. We were talking about the voice industry and you as voice actors. And I'm good friends with Matt Mercer.
Yes.
I know. I'm not great friends. I know Dave Mitchell. He's really
Yeah.
good friends
Yeah,
with my roommate Lou Santini. So you guys have experienced what I feel people have a stronger attachment, much like maybe to a songwriter and a rock star, because it's, man, you get me, man. When it comes to voice actors, people take to you like maybe even more than actors, because the on-screen people, and I know you do some acting as well, but what is that phenomenon? Is it just because you're Batman or you're the guy from Assassin's Creed or Say Yes to the Dress, or I don't. What is it?
Say Yes to the Dress. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yes. Yard Crashers as well.
I've
Don't forget,
heard Yes
on
to
the
the
DIY
Dress.
network. Yes, on the DIY network.
I
Perhaps
love
you-
Say Yes
and-
to the Dress.
Yes. No, I don't know. I mean, like, if anything, it baffles me just as much. But it's like we talked about this earlier. I think it's an attachment to the character. I mean, because there's that fantasy element, even that the on-camera world will never capture this, and that's one of the reasons why working for Disney was such a dream come true. Because Lasseter and Pixar, it's some of the best visual storytelling you'll ever see in film.
Absolutely.
Like the first 20 minutes of Up, everybody I think I remember seeing this thing. Somebody was making fun of Twilight, like the whole Twilight saga and all that, and they're like, the first 20 minutes of Up. Has done more for storytelling than it was something more. I forget what
Than
just
everything?
than everything that
Yeah.
Twilight could ever hope to do. But it was anyway. That was a horrible. This is why I don't do stand up anymore, because that joke just laid there. It's like,
Hold on,
yeah.
crowd. Let me
Hang
do
on.
it again. Can I start
Hey,
over?
Let me try this again. Hey, where are my drinkers at? How's everybody feeling out there?
I didn't see it as a joke,
What's
more as
the
a
deal
point.
with Lancashire Boulevard, man? Like the
Yeah, man, it
concept.
sucks.
Yeah, dude, thanks, man. Thanks for my time. Hey, I'll be on Kimmel later, and I got a sitcom coming out. But meanwhile, this
On
douchebag
TBS.
has been working really hard on his act.
Yeah,
Let's just not even honor him at all.
he's memorized it.
I got off on something there. What we were gonna.
Well, I'm just trying to figure. I'm just in awe of what
I think it's
people
the
and voice-
characters.
Yeah, it's the characters. And the
Because-
video games, it's a part of their life more than a movie sometimes.
Yeah, and I think because the fantasy element. I mean, these are comic book characters or they're video game characters. It's a complete detachment from reality. So you get. There is no tangible connection to it other than maybe the voice or the artist.
I was just going
Right.
to say, there's really nothing tangible. If you look at, say, animation or video games, I think people look at it and go, yeah, well, at least maybe adults. Yeah, this is a character that's drawn or CGI or whatever. And the tangible human element is the voice.
Yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
that's what people connect
But
to.
even then, we were talking about earlier with the little guy that was into planes and rip slinger and all that kind of thing.
My little second cousin, yeah.
It was an awkward description as we were trying to give it earlier. So
Yeah, I know.
It sounds highly
I'll call him my
inappropriate,
second
actually.
cousin.
Exactly.
And the story
Let's
is
just call him my second.
Yes.
yeah, my
cousin.
second. Well, let's call him by his name. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's call him Benny, which is
Yeah.
his name.
Was Chris Hansen at the house when you were like there with him?
Well,
Like,
well-
why don't you have a seat?
I know.
It's
It's like,
iced tea for you.
I know. He's like, you're on Predator. No,
Exactly.
no,
Why
Benny.
don't you sit down?
The story behind that is he was playing it with a planes ball, and I said, I know Rip Slinger, and and his eyes went wide, and I said, I didn't shatter the reality. I said, I know Rip Slinger the plane. I didn't say I knew Rip Slinger the voice actor.
There's the age range kind of element where it's like
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of guys that do what I do, like Fred Tatasciore and stuff. They will make phone calls to people at a certain age. But it, like every now and then I'll have like somebody who goes like one of the first big jobs that I got was doing like Prince Philip in Disney's Enchanted Princess Tales Volume 7 something. It was this long drawn out title that escapes me for right now.
That was you?
Bless you. Yes, and it was so I played a prince, and my family was all excited about that. So I had nieces at the time that were like of the age that would watch these videos, and it was like my niece's 5th birthday. and all of her little girlfriends were upstairs and playing, and I was visiting my family at the time, and my sister-in-law said, you have to go up and do your voice for them. And I was like, this is a terrible idea. Because I was in like shorts and a t-shirt. I hadn't shaved in like 3 weeks.
I look
and I'm
nothing like a prince.
exactly. And I'm like, I'm 5'5". I've got this hair. and I was like, this is really going to ruin their character. Like for them.
Yeah.
And sure enough, she's, no, they'll love it. And I go, they don't understand it. They don't understand it yet. So sure enough, I go up, and the line was something like, before you go to bed tonight, I want you to look for the brightest star in the sky and know that I'll be looking at the same star. So now picture a guy who's been mountain biking with his brother all day, right? In his shorts and a t-shirt, standing in front of a bevy of 5-year-old girls going, before you go to bed tonight,
Mommy, there's
look
a
for
monster.
the brightest star in the sky and know that I'll be looking at the same. Yeah. And so I went, no, it's much better. Meanwhile, we go downstairs, and one of the girls who was sick, who couldn't be at the party, her mom found out that I was there. They were huge fans of the whole Disney princess thing, calls on her cell phone. I get on the phone. The girl is like jumping up and down with joy because Prince Philip's on the phone.
Right.
Not
That's
seeing a
different, right?
douchebaggy
Yeah.
5'5" out of shape, pasty white guy going, I'm Prince Philip. Yeah.
Hey, I take offense to that. You're not douchey. You are 5'5", though.
Thank you very
and
much.
pasty white.
Douchey is in the eye of the douche holder.
I've seen it. Look, I've seen it. I'm fascinated by it because, through Schmoes we get to meet some cool celebrities.
Sure.
Hang out with our good friend Katie Sackhoff or R.J. Mitty from Breaking Bad, and
Right.
people are like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And maybe a buzzworthy show. Will, oh, that's great.
Yeah, Norman Reedus calling in.
Norman
from Walking
Reedus
Dead.
from Walking Dead, great.
Yeah.
But when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to my friend Roger's house. Yeah, he's cool. He did some. Like Assassin's Creed. He did what now? These are like 35-year-old men.
Oh,
He-
did you-
He what?
Which is nuts.
And I remember our interns. when he came on. I mean, they
Josh
lost.
and Josh and Copster.
Josh and Copster lost their shit.
Yeah, and being good friends with Matt Mercer, when he did his run as Tiger on the new Thundercats, I had my best friend who's like a detective in the police force is like, wait, that guy I met was Tigra?
Yeah.
That was Tigra? That was Tigra.
A cop.
Holy shit, I was just talking to Tigra.
Tiger.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Like,
But that right there, I think, is like, it's not. And again, this is where I think that not the humility, but it's where like no, that we're so far detached from it because I get it.
Yeah.
You're in love with Batman. You're in love with Ezio. And so am I because I'm not that guy. It's
Right,
like I'm not
right.
that character, but we love these characters, and that's from that collaborative element of like there's so many amazing writers that are involved in this
Right.
stuff that make them who
Sure.
they are. Vocally, I get to be that
Sure.
embodiment, but it's like even then, I'm nothing without a director saying, "Well, why'd you do it that way? Do it better."
Yeah.
That last take sucked. Do it again.
I came earlier tonight before you came here, Ken, and he kind of.
it's because I was helping a fire department get a drunk out
You
of
had
an
some
ambulance.
drama.
You got some
this evening.
drama.
Seriously.
Yeah. No, this.
Talk about the surreal nature of
I
life.
didn't want to bring that up, but
Yeah.
we can talk about that. if you want.
Later.
But,
the day I was late to a schmo meeting because a guy with a knife tried to attack me was one of my favorite
Lord.
days, and I had nothing but my hands.
So can you make sure that that's about right?
I'll get the format right.
Yeah. No, but one of the things that being friends with Roger for so long that I have, one of my favorite things about you is the humility behind it.
What are other favorite things?
No, shut up now.
Write them down.
Well, here's a list, okay?
Did you tweet that?
Yeah, I will tweet.
Yeah.
I just
Thank
tweeted
you.
out your
Oh,
address,
lovely.
by the way. But no, the humility behind it of this, that it's something I believe in filmmaking. Even with the movie I made, even though it's a shitbox on Netflix, that has a lot of bad comments. It's Gray Skies on Netflix. You can find it now streaming at a theater near you. But the collaboration behind it, where I dealt with producers on that were like, it's all me, it's all this, it's all this. The humility behind Roger saying, look, I'm a voice, but you have a director, you have writers, you have engineers, you have this, you have that. That is something that is so refreshing that you don't see a lot in the
But let me
this
ask
industry.
you, like, seriously, like,
Yeah.
the notion of like humility. That's a weird thing because I don't know that it's a humility as much as it's the absolute reality of the situation.
It is a reality. No, it is.
It's yes, I will say it's a reality.
Why is
but,
our industry
but
always
guess what?
like, oh, he's so down to earth, and it's like, no, everybody that works in
but
this
guess what? In
business
your-
is the
Trans-
luckiest SOBs.
in your, even in your position, I truly believe that there are people out there in this industry that will sit there and take credit for it and say that that Batman game was me.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure, they're
And-
mostly female actresses, but it's a good transition. It's a good transition.
Excuse me. I just sneezed.
You all right there? Oh, man.
God.
Good transition to get to, because what you're saying, Roger, is like, man, this is a job, like, and I'm happy to have it, and I love it, and it's a great job. And look at the you have a very great house here, man. And the first time you came over, it was like, we're like, sure, what should we bring? You're like, nothing.
Yeah.
I got this. And and you had this whole spread, and you were like, no, I worked my ass off to get this, so why wouldn't I share it with people?
I brought the
Now,
burgers.
but
Which the burgers tonight
but
were
I'm talking
amazing,
like the first time. The first time we
I
all
know,
came
I'm
over
kidding,
here.
I'm
Now
kidding.
the giant wall-size frame poster he has of himself
It's
in
a
the living
crushed
room.
velvet. It's crushed velvet.
Crushed velvet.
And I was on a
painting.
bearskin rug. It's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and the fact that we had
I
to,
do enjoy that you were naked on
yeah,
that.
the fact we have to stare at it first.
But tastefully.
Okay. You're tastefully naked on a polar bear rug. I will say that.
What you just said is really is cuts to the core of it. It's like, but do we all get credit for being humble when we should just be like, no, this is life, man. Like,
Yeah.
you should be a
Yeah.
decent human.
Thank you.
Like,
yeah, and I
Why
guess
does
that's my
industry,
point.
This industry celebrates that, where it's because it's almost like implied that like people think that you should, because there are people that are out there that have that vindictive nature of like, I've achieved this now, and you're all going to pay for it. And it's like either daddy hugged me too much or not enough, but either way, you're all going to pay for it.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
like. And
Exactly.
you just go, what? Why in this industry? And I'm sure it's the same thing. Like I have a brother who works in corporate America, and the stories that we share sometimes are just so closely related that it's almost kind of
Oh,
funny.
absolutely.
And we're
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
different industries, but it's like no, the political BS that goes on here and there. It's like it's the same thing on
It's
all.
everywhere.
I get
absolutely.
that it's harder when you're recognized because it's an odd feeling. I'm not famous or successful on any high level, but I've been buying my toilet paper at Target, and someone said, "Wait, you're the producer of the Schmoes No podcast."
Shut up, are you serious?
Yeah,
How cool.
yeah. Oh my God, man, I love you. And I'm like, I've got the wet ass wipes, and I've got the toilet paper. I'm like,
Those are so good.
Can
those
you
wet
can you
wipes.
can you bag that?
Preparation H is for.
I watch your show
I
every week.
was wrong on that. I thought that was for a
this?
testosterone reducer.
Oh, this frozen wart remover? Not for me. It's for my girlfriend.
yeah.
But it is.
Purposin? I have
it's
no
a-
idea what that is.
It's a weird, intoxicating moment, really, when you're like, yes, that is me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can buy into it really quickly.
Absolutely.
So to be able to, I think that's what maybe Riley and I are giving you and my friend Mercer and Dave Mitchell and all these people. Why I'm
Absolutely.
crediting the voice industry is it seems to be a lot easier for the people in that industry to go, no, I'm part of a team. You want to drink a beer and shut up about it now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's hard. I get while it's hard.
But I talked to Mark Ellis about like the notion
Oh,
of
that
stand-up
dude's
as
a
well.
jerk.
I don't know who he is actually. I just shut it up.
Mark who?
Like
Mark
Ellis.
who? Ellis?
ELLYSS.
Folks, if you'd like some funny comedy, check
Elias.
out Mark Ellis's Get to the Castle, available on iTunes and Pandora for a channel of Mark.
So you guys know you have heard of him.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Okay, good.
I've heard
Interesting.
Well, I
This
was
is less
saying
awkward
earlier
now.
that one of my favorite comedians, so I will say that.
Hands down.
He when he came over for our little schmoes no hang
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he and I were talking about like there's an inherent quality to like stand up and I would say even actors or any sort of creative outlet is there is at its core. I think I even talked to Tiffany about this. There's an element, and like even Blair Herder and these, it's like there is an element of please like me.
Sure.
You know, and because there's got to be a motivational element to this that makes you want to go out and do hand farts and in public and be stupid and goofy and get laughs and that kind of thing. You want that. There's got to be a little feed to that. But with that, when you get it, enjoy it while it's there, but you can't start to either believe it too much or to not believe it at all. It's like
it's a fun. I listened to Will Forte on Mark Maron's show, and I know Christian. Yes, I look like Will Forte, according to Christian Harloff. There's
I don't see it.
There's Subway sandwich artist in San Diego who
Yeah,
thinks,
I don't
who
see
thinks
it.
Will Forte didn't autograph his napkin at Subway at Comic Con because Christian Harloff kept going, "Hey, you work for MacGruber. MacGruber's right here."
I still don't see it. I still don't see it.
Thank you. But I love, but ironically, not so ironically, I love Will Forte, and he was on Mark Maron's podcast, and they were talking about him. Will says, basically, I am built as at the core someone supremely confident what I do, buried in supreme self-doubt.
absolutely.
Wow.
And that's the balance I feel like that when I approach it.
I think that's good.
Talked to a
That's
guy
good
that was
quote.
he was like a vice president of like aerospace companies and that kind of thing, and he said, there's a common trait in a lot of the people that are at that level, and minutes, every single one of those guys is looking over their shoulder, going, "When are they going to find out that I don't belong here?
Right.
That I shouldn't be doing this?" And it was funny because he was telling me this story at a time when I started to kind of go, okay, I've booked a couple of good jobs, like, and it's weird because I'm sitting there going, like, why did they hire me? Like, why am I here? I shouldn't. They gotta know I don't know what I'm doing, kind of thing. And he kept saying, like, no, that's how you know you're doing the right thing, and or at least that your attitude is correct about
in that case, I should be an Oscar winner.
We should all be billionaires by now.
Well, but
my level of self-doubt.
I know what you mean, though. The one area that we're all failures in, joking, no. Women, no.
Exactly.
No, I'm a failure with women. You can say it. You can say it.
It is a Friday night, and the three of us are hanging out.
Yeah, there is
let's be honest.
reason.
Yeah.
No, I don't even know how to want to jump into that subject, other than we are men 20 years out of high school, in a dating pool that's changed dramatically from what maybe I still think I'm 22 sometimes.
Oh
yeah.
You know,
you think you're 22? I'm 13, dude.
Yeah, I don't get it, and maybe I'll start this off. You know, being a divorced, man in my late 30s.
That's a great show on TBS.
It really is.
Always
in fact,
funny.
I'm pitching it tomorrow, and Jerry Seinfeld is.
What's the deal with Lancashire?
Yeah.
Where are all the single ladies at on Lancashire?
Yeah, my pilot is about a single divorced gentleman that picks up a woman in traffic on Lancashire.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yes.
There you go.
Full set of teeth.
No, but being a divorced man in my late 30s, the dating game has definitely changed, and I will say, I mean, I think I said this to a certain degree on the Knapsack Files when I was on.
Yeah.
It just doesn't faze me anymore because I'm just too old. And I just don't care.
Well, we were talking. You go through this. Like you go back to high school and everything. I wish I was confident early. I wish I was able to learn to treat women as people.
Yeah.
For earlier versus.
Wait.
I'm not talking about equality. I'm talking about being so fearful and
who are you?
And taking a lot of crap from someone because I just believe they're really pretty.
Yeah.
And it's kind of refreshing when you can kind of I won't mention names, but when it's like that girl, I don't care how hot she is, she annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah. And if you go
great.
If you go
it's
to
a wonderful feeling.
If you go back to my high school girlfriend, I'm still actually friends with her, and she's beautiful, and I've kept in touch with her, and I will say that my high school girlfriend, and I'll say her name, Erica Cutlip.
Name deleted.
Oh,
yeah, no, but she is a wonderful person. She has shaped my life to where I am now.
You realize that name's trending on Twitter right now.
I hope so. She'll get she's a wonderful singer.
Auto-populating into Google.
Yeah. She said she's going to call me tomorrow. What did you do? But getting to my divorce and whatnot, and afterwards, and then what you said when you're there is a wonderful, beautiful woman, but I'm not buying it.
You're not buying it anymore.
I'm not buying.
I am judging you as a person, not a hot woman.
I am not buying the fact that you're extremely hot. But guess what? That only goes too far. And I am happy being single, and I am happy being, myself.
Mark's reading this off a cue card that his therapist wrote, by the way.
This is an interesting. No, but here's an interesting thing. You talked about the not that intoxication that can come with. You're the producer of Schmoes. No,
right?
Yeah,
dude, I love you. Like, and at one point you're like, well, actually, I am.
Yeah.
So now let's take that and apply that to our industry, where it's like you want to talk about dating in the LA area, especially within our industry, which celebrates beauty and outward appearances like there's no tomorrow, because it's the only substantive element with which we need to be concerned.
Yeah.
Do you look good? Can you sell some sneakers? Can you sell the skin cream? Can you blah blah blah? Can you get guys to tune in? Can you get girls to tune in?
What's your demographic?
And exactly. And then try to find like a way of how do you not? You either have to like what? If you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
You either have to just dive in and just sort of go okay, I'm going to go along with this unbelievably shallow existence because that's the waters that I'm swimming in.
Yeah.
Or you are just frustrated and because it's like at some point you just go, just stop talking.
I'm raising my hand right now because that's the thing. I mean,
I've been in that for 15 years.
I have this is hard for me to say. I don't know how to say it, but I have gotten to myself.
Talk it out, Mark.
Oh, thank you, therapist Ken. I have gotten myself to a certain degree in my career that I can, I do some things that are fun and I have connections and whatnot, and I have noticed a certain very attractive women that kind of say, oh, can I, and I can see through it and go, you're after my connections, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me.
I have a lot of attractive women in Hollywood come up to me and ask what Josh McCouga is doing.
Oh, wow. It's interesting. You too?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
You, though...
Josh McCouga doesn't know what he's doing. Though, so.
You, Roger, said something...
I'm kidding, Josh McCouga. I love you.
One of the first nights I met you, you were talking. You spent some time in another state. I'll keep the state secret from your fans, but yeah, you
Idaho. No one's going there.
Find it there.
Exactly.
Iowa.
Yeah. Exactly.
Iowa.
Ohio.
So you're spending
Great
time there.
corn.
And one of the things you like is you said when I meet somebody, the conversation is what do you like to do, not what do you do.
Yes.
What are you into?
Yeah.
Are you a hiker, a biker, a mountain biker? Do you go skiing? Are you snowshoeing? Like,
and I've heard that and been so jealous because it's like
it's nuts.
Because that's what I get. What do you do?
Well, you begin to realize that,
What do you do?
that's the way that the rest of the world lives. I mean, you can park in front of the establishment that you want to frequent, and you're not going to hand your keys to somebody. It's like, or you're not going to pay $20, or you're not going to. It's and up there that was for me where it was like. I keep coming up with these little analogies, like the football thing, and for me the notion of like the year that I had last year with Planes, Batman, and Avengers Assemble all coming out in the same year was epic. It was huge.
Yeah.
And I got to dip my toe into that element of our industry. And then the thing I kept saying is I kept using this dip my toe into it kind of thing because on the grand scheme of things, it's not an on-camera role.
Sure.
And those people, I don't know how they do it, but but getting to dip your toe in it, but swim in the reality, the waters of reality, is far more intriguing to me than anything else. And that's what it's one of the reasons why getting away to Boise is fun for me because
wait, you go to Boise?
Boise, not Boise.
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 Yes, Boise.
Oh, is that?
Idaho.
Oh, is that?
It's a big thing.
Oh,
yeah.
big thing up there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I was just.
How dare you, sir?
I was
How
just
dare
reiterating
you.
that you go to Boise,
Yes, Boise,
Idaho.
Idaho.
You can find Roger Craig
Yes,
Smith at
Boise,
Boise, Idaho.
Good luck finding them.
Exactly.
I know, good luck.
Although you know what, you want to.
There's snow there.
The
so.
funniest thing, with the one time that I've ever had a recognition, like you were talking about, like with somebody like, oh my God, as you're buying toilet paper, I was getting a cab ride from my house back to a bar area where I might have left my car the night before.
Yeah.
And so getting a cab ride and so I called this cab company and asked them to come pick me up, kind of thing. Guy gets in the car and he's a young dude and he's driving the cab and he gets in the car. He gives me one of these, like, he's getting in. He's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, 2nd Street, this thing." And he's like, "Okay." We get in the cab, and pretty soon turns and he's like, "Do I know you?" And in Boise, like, it's a small town in a lot of ways. There's 250,000 people in the downtown section, but it's still small town.
Right.
Boise.
And so he goes, "Do I know you?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think so." And I got a brother who lives up in that area, so I was like, maybe there's a mutual family friend here, that kind of thing. And he says, "No, do you have friends that are this?" And he's like, "No, it's not that. It's not that." And he's like, "It's really weird, man. You look familiar. I feel like I know you." And I was like, "Huh." And then it dawned on me for a second. I was like, let me ask him. Let's try this. And I said, "Do you are you a gamer? Do you play video games?" And he goes, "Yeah, totally." And I was like, "Do you ever like pay attention to who does voices in games?" And as he's driving, all of a sudden he turns and he goes like this. He goes, "Dude, holy crap, you're Batman!" Like. And he's like, "I just watched a video on you the other day with you and the Troy Baker thing." He's like, "Dude, you're bad. What are you doing in my cab in Boise?"
And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Boise.
Exactly. And I'm cracking up because I'm like, dude, you're the first guy in the history of my career, which is very short lived, which also sounds like my career. But I was like, you're the first guy who's ever recognized it. And I was laughing, and he was like, "This is so cool. My friends never can believe who I had in my cab." It was like, and yet it's like that sort of thing up there of all the places to be recognized in a place where you'd assume like no industry or that kind of thing. But no, I love the fact you get out and it's just like you see people have conversations with one another as strangers at the checkout stand at
they're
the supermarket.
nice to each other.
Yeah, and what's also really funny is to talk to people a guy that in an apartment complex when I lived in Orange. There was a guy that was two doors down from me who came from the Bronx, and he's like, I'm from the Bronx, man. I've been out here for a long time. I was like, I moved out here, and I was like, what the hell is up with everybody? So his whole thing was like, man, I moved to LA and I thought everybody out here was so full of crap. He's like, like every place, like, no, but here's the thing. His experience was like, you go into like a Starbucks or you go into like a coffee shop, or you go to the supermarket, and you walk up to the counter and the person goes, hey, how you doing? And he's like, freak you care about how I'm doing. Why are you asking me how I'm doing? He's like, what do you want to know I'm doing? You don't care what I'm doing. And he's like out in New York, he was saying like everywhere you go, it's like you walk up and you go, there's no like, hi, how are you? How you doing today? It was always just like, yeah, give me number 4. It's like, and then and they go, yeah, it's 247. There's your change. It's like, it's just there's no social niceties exchange. There's nothing like that. And he said out here it felt so disingenuous.
Really?
And he was like,
wow.
it took me the longest time to figure out that like people were just kind of like, that's how they do it out here. Like they're friendly like that.
Okay.
And meanwhile, I leave LA because everybody here is so mean and jaded, and I go to Boise, and yet
interesting.
you meet people from Boise who are like, LA is so exciting, and you're like, no.
Oh yeah. But I for me, when I've been blessed, as much as I've hated being stuck in this day job now for 15 years, I have a real anchor of a reality constantly because it's a regular job. I work with regular guys who are regular goals, and maybe some have some creative goals. Some of them do, and I encourage them to do that. But then there's some harsh realities I deal with. What did you deal with today? This guy died because he had a drug overdose. Like I'm dealing with that.
Sometimes when I talk to you, man, I just go, wow.
So then when I'm recognized as, it's like, oh, that was awesome. Doesn't mean anything, but that was fun.
Yeah.
And
So, can I tell you the first
dipped
time
your
I was
toe in it.
recognized somewhere?
Yeah.
I was buying some comics, and I was at a comic book store, and I bought some comics, and the guy looked at me and he said, "Oh, do you like these? Do you like this Batman, Superman stuff?" I said, "Yeah. I really like the stuff, and I have a really good friend that's a big comic book fan, and she does Stacked." And he went, "You know Tiffany Smith?"
Oh, funny.
So, oh wait. Oh, I was supposed to do a story about when I was recognized.
Yeah, well, it's close enough,
I
man.
don't
It's like,
have any. Okay.
that's probably
So,
why you're such a
it
good
could happen,
guy.
man. There you go.
Look at the jerks that Roger and I are.
Exactly.
I
And
don't
you
think
are.
I don't think I've ever been.
What's funny is
you know what?
Mark's not even at this table. We put him in another room.
Yeah, right. No, I get recognized. You know what's funny? I get recognized now on Twitter from People versus George Lucas because I
Yes,
pop up every
yeah.
once in a while.
Yeah.
And people who see it and know me from know me from Schmoes know, and they go, "I just saw Riley Cobster the other day.
yeah.
Our
God
intern
bless
he just tweeted me, "You were in People with George Lucas." I'm like, Jesus, that was
There you
5
go.
minutes of my day.
There you go.
Ken,
Yeah.
wasn't Mark's story adorable?
It was pretty cute.
It was adorable.
I especially like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have the Target and the Boise cab driving thing. I have Twitter. That's all I've got.
Hey,
well.
what it is now one of the official quotes of the Knapsack Files is Bono's quote about if you need to stand up in front of 70,000 people every night, there's a hole in your soul. There's something wrong with you. So maybe you're the one who's better off than us.
True.
I don't think I'm any
murderous being
better
me.
off than anyone.
I think it's funny. We started talking about women, and we ended up talking about our own fame.
Yeah.
But which is probably why
Why
we're
we're all-
struggling. But you
yeah.
guys, what I do want to touch about it here in the time we've got left here, about 5 minutes. That as men of advancing years,
What do you mean?
who are on the other side of long-term relationships or marriages or whatever it is,
Sure.
and emerging. We were talking earlier about valuable life lessons learned, and I know there's a lot of people out there who follow my questions on relationships. Now I got two great young men. We're still young boys, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about emerging from and finding yourself and being individuals, and how important it is to be individuals, two individuals that can kind of combine into one. Where coming out of a divorce, how are you embracing that kind of philosophy? How are you doing, buddy?
You're looking at me. I'm doing well. Divorce is hard. That's all I'll say. It knocked me on my ass for a year. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken. I think I said this on your last show when I was on there. It knocked me on my ass. I was heartbroken. All those things. But you take a year, and you go into the dark places that I went, and then you come out on the other end, and you go, okay, yeah, I know what I want, and now I'm very aware of what I want, and I've been dating a lot. I've had a girlfriend, after my marriage, and I've dated quite a bit.
A lot more success on Tinder than most people I know.
Tinder. Tinder. Yeah, for all of you.
What's this now?
For all of you those listening, yeah, Tinder is something that I've had more success on Tinder, and I'm not talking about a one night hookup. I'm talking about like. Okay, Tinder aside. I would just say
Swipe to the left.
I know. Yeah, I swipe a lot to the left. I just would say that I know myself a lot more, and I would say that I am very, very aware of the I won't call them red flags because I think everybody has their own red flags, and that
Sometimes
can be
they're brunette, sometimes they're blonde.
They can be in a relationship and go, that's a red flag, and it's like, there are red flags, and then there are just, the checkered flag or whatever, I just say that where I'm at right now, I love being single. I love living alone. I love that I can go home to my dog and watch TV by myself. Am I ready for a relationship? Absolutely. Have I found the right girl? No, I haven't. And
Keep swiping.
I will keep swiping. Tinder is not. I will say though that Tinder is. I don't think the place to go for this kind of stuff. I definitely.
I've been on it because at a party,
I think
you and Megan Finley put it on my phone.
Yes, we did.
We were all
Are you
three
serious?
drunk, and suddenly Tinder's on my phone. And I'm not really in the dating world. And, and I was like, well, can I just keep swiping? I haven't got one match just because. But I see women on there who are like, not here for hookups. You're on a Tinder
You're on
dating
Tinder.
app.
Well, you know what? This is what I've learned about Tinder, and this is we're getting into Tinder. Here we go.
Yeah, you're
Tinder is actually a legitimate dating site now. I would say I have been on dates off of Tinder.
Well, all right.
And they are not like I haven't done the you get a match and you go, hey, what are you doing? Why don't you come over here? No, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me.
Surprisingly enough, Lancashire turns out to also be a really legitimate dating location. It's the craziest thing.
Great callback. Great callback.
It's called plant and
back to
payoff.
Tinder.
Well,
Well,
screenwriting. It's a screenwriting term.
I thought
I'm one of the greatest screenwriters ever.
The Lancashire app is available at the App Store right now for $1.99.
I'd love to delve into more with dating, especially with you, Mark.
Yeah, I know.
But
I have
you
stories.
I know came out of something. You're in a good spot too because you took that time, huh? To kind of take stock.
Absolutely. I mean, I've called 2014 the year of Roger in so many ways because it's just.
I've adopted that as well. We were hanging out once, and I'm like, you know what? It's the year of Riley too.
Yeah.
That's what's under that painting in the living room.
Exactly.
But
But it's on the.
You've seen This Is the End, right?
Yes,
There's like
exactly.
Seth Rogen and James Franco paintings. That's what I have. I have Roger Smith and I have Mark Riley paintings.
And if you put it in black light, it says a whole thing. And I don't even want to say.
It's really
it's
weird.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's kind of.
This goes back to like what you were talking about earlier. Though this is why I say bring up the topic of like, would you ever go back? And the reality is like I don't know. Everything that I've gone through, everything that's happened in my life has brought me to where I'm at right now, and it's as good as I can imagine it ever getting.
Right.
And then there's also the notion of like I don't know, maybe it'll get better. I have no idea.
Could you imagine?
Exactly. Because
Looking at that barbecue grill, I can't imagine it getting better.
You and me.
I can't either.
Look at what
I
we're
made some
doing.
burgers
Look
on
at
that.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like honestly, if your 13-year-old self could look at you right now, you'd be like, "What the hell? Really? You got
I
this
have
microphone
to
set up?" And
I have to apply that test to me. I do suffer from depression when it hits, and it hits hard, it hits deep, and some darkness comes up. I have to stop
Dude,
and
I'm
go.
there too, man.
Yeah, but we all are. And I'm saying I'm
there
saying I'm
too,
special.
man.
But I have to
experience depression all the time.
apply that test where I'm like, go back to junior high, 7th grade, when all you wanted was all this stuff, and here you've not only met Roddy Piper, you've been in a wrestling ring in him, you've run a wrestling company, you used to record shows at 5 years old with your dad on your microphones, and now what you're doing. Look at this stuff. So shut the hell up.
Exactly.
Enjoy it and keep going forward.
which has been a big thing that's just resonated with me immensely. You know, I will tout this guy on Twitter. His name is Jason Silva. He's actually the host of Brain Games on Nat Geo.
Okay, yeah.
And as far as like a guy to like follow on Twitter, the things that he's very well read, very well spoken, and he does really cool videos on YouTube called Shots of Awe. And they usually include all manner of quotes from philosophers and poets, and it's really 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 interesting stuff, and he articulates the wonderful, awful, beautiful, tragic struggle of existence in so many ways, and but it usually comes from a place of like peace and calm and knowing yourself, and it's like that's where it's like, you know, I keep coming back to that. I still wouldn't go back, because that not knowing who you are, and it sucks to go through it, and when you're in the middle of going through it, it's the worst thing ever. It's kind of like a bad stand-up show. Like, comedy's great when it's going great. When it's awful, it's the worst 4 minutes of your life, or 40, or whatever you're doing. And yet, when you're on the other side of it, you can look at it and go, like, I learned something, that the next show will be better, or I will improve upon this, or I won't make that same mistake twice, kind of thing.
Yeah, you know, and I that really resonated with me, Roger, because, you know,
I'm sorry, you are?
My name is Mark Riley. I'm a screenwriter.
I don't
sometimes.
I don't recognize
No.
Exactly.
Do you know
Josh McCouga?
Do you know Tiffany Smith?
Yeah. I tweeted her the other day. But
You know the guy that works at that comic book shop?
I do. His name is
Sorry.
Bob.
No one can get a word tonight.
I know, right? No, but that resonated me with, because you know, before I got married, and this kind of goes along with your question, I think, Ken. Before I got married, I was very much into the where I should be, what I should be doing now, and I would look at myself as like I'm a failure.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, I've failed. I am not where I am supposed to be. I am this, I'm that, and part of it was the marriage. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna talk bad about my ex-wife, but there was a part of it that was.
That's another show.
That's another show. It was an interesting dynamic that I felt, you know, a little awkward. But, you know, I tell you, after the divorce, after the time of healing and everything, I am completely comfortable with where I'm at. I am not looking towards the future. I am not focusing on the past. I'm looking at where I am, and it's kind of amazing.
It's kind of like Yoda told Luke. Into the cave you must go. No.
You know, it's like, you know, I know my parents look and go, you know, you could be making more money, Mark, and all that kind of stuff, and that's my parents just caring about me. But I look at where I'm at, I'm like, you know what? Not bad, and I will take this over everything, and I'm not looking for. I mean, I'm constantly trying to better myself, but I'm not looking for some magic elf to come in and give me $1 million.
That's a thing?
Do you know a magic elf?
I wouldn't mind.
No,
I mean, seriously, I'll take it. Yeah.
Do you know that? You're kind of
your self growth is wonderful, but I'll
Thank
take
you.
the elf. I'm just like,
Thank you. I
On
appreciate
that
that. And with it.
On that note,
oh wow.
On that note, we will.
It was a note, sort of.
Yeah, it was kind of a note there.
Wait a minute. What was that?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
There was some feedback
It was
there.
feedback.
Sorry.
The headphones on the
cans have to go.
See,
It broadcasts back to
screenwriter
itself.
wouldn't know this.
Screenwriter. I was just gonna say I'm with a broadcaster and
Voice
and comedian
professional.
and a voice professional.
Yeah.
And I am a screenwriter, so I apologize
There
to
we
the
go.
Knapsack Files
All right,
fans.
that has been a deep, philosophical, and drunk Knapsack Files. I would like to thank my guests.
It's just deep philosophical, and I just thought it was so perfect. It was like, you know, this has been a deep philosophical. Oh,
Do you know I love the cue up to that? It was like, you know, Ken looks across the table and Roger's ready.
Just waiting for it.
Just there we go.
there you go. Thank you.
This has been a
Right,
great
man.
show. Mark Riley, thanks for opening up and sharing and coming back on the Knapsack Files. Where
Thank
can we
you.
find you on the Twit machine?
You can find me at Riley Around, ReillyAround, and I also have a website, Mark E. Riley, which is
And,
MarkeReilly.
And don't forget schmozno.com, where you are editor-in-chief, breaking scoops and writing stories, and it's good stuff.
Schmozno.com has really taken off lately, so I hope everybody visits, because it's really a fun site, and I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely. You've done great work there. Mr. Roger Craig Smith, other than Yard Crashers and Say Yes to the Dress, where can we find you?
At Roger Craig Smith on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook, but my Facebook profile is jacked up. And I don't know
just
what I'm doing with it.
follow the man on
Twitter's
Twitter.
the easiest way.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
any,
I tried to share something on your Facebook the other day, and it was just I don't know what happened.
I don't have no idea what I did to that thing. But
Yeah.
it's an abandoned.
Yeah,
wasteland.
an actual
Yes.
fist came through the screen and
I wouldn't
punched
doubt it.
me when
Exactly.
I shared.
How dare you?
any special projects coming up that we need to know about, sir?
Trying to we got Sonic Boom, this series, the animated series that's the Sonic the Hedgehog stuff coming out fall of 2014. A Sonic
that's
game
cool.
that's related to the same series. There's the DLC for Batman Arkham Origins that comes out, I think, April 22nd.
Which I'm going to get because that's
Cool.
Dr. Freeze, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Or Mr. Freeze.
This is a bunch of stuff, but Twitter's the best way to find out about it. A lot of the worst thing about my job is that I don't really get to talk about stuff until it comes out.
Until it comes
and even
out.
then,
Yeah,
sometimes
no, a
they're
lot
like,
of times,
don't say anything about
Yeah,
it.
I know how that
Please don't
goes.
associate yourself with that
But
character.
nobody
right.
mentioned that you were Sonic on Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wanted
Cameo in
to- I
there.
just wanted to say.
Good times, yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, not only for coming on the show, Roger, but opening up
you.
your home for some burgers and beers
Kidding
tonight,
me?
and some whiskey. It's been a great time, you guys. Don't forget to find the Knapsack Files on Facebook. Like us there. And if you're on iTunes and you haven't subscribed, do that. But if you are and you have subscribed or not, whatever, if you're on iTunes, please do me the favor of rating and reviewing the show. That's how we climb the ladder of success. So, for Roger Craig Smith and Mark E. Riley, I'm Ken Knapsack. This has been the Knapsack Files. We'll see you next time.